Welcome back. Tapas Swadhyaya Ishvara Pranidhanani Kriya Yogaha. In the first sutra of the second chapter, Patanjali defines the Kriya Yoga. Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. Three dimensions have been included in the called the Kriya Yoga. Tapas is the focusing of the mind. Completely putting your efforts to achieve your goal. And as Swami Vivekananda said, arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached, it is said. So, any person who takes tapas, he will have many difficulties, many challenges, many problems, many obstacles, everything he will cross until he reaches goal. So that is the steadfastness, the willpower that he exercises in the so-called tapas. Tapas helps to harness this power of the will to take you further to the end of your goal. Swadhyaya is to look at ourselves. Normally we always think, for all the problems I have, somebody else is responsible. I am suffering from hypertension because my husband is terrible. I suffer from all this insomnia and arthritis because of my wife. My children are very naughty. The pollution outside, because of that we have all the problem. Wrong. Swami Vivekananda said, man is the maker of his own destiny. That means we must start looking at ourselves. Swadhyaya, introspection is very important. Whether there is something wrong inside, has to be looked at. So, this is the dimension of the Jnana Yoga, understanding, discrimination power. Ishvara Pranidhana, as I mentioned to you earlier, is the process of surrender. It is the Bhakti Yoga dimension, in which surrender is a process of expansion and it's a process of resonance. When you go on doing the japa, as I said, repeating things again and again, the mind tunes itself to your Ishta Devata, to your role model of a person, and you get this thing. So, there is the power of will, the power of analysis, and the power of emotions. When these three things are harnessed and put together as a practice, it is called as Kriya Yoga. This difference from Shat Kriyas of the Hatha Yoga. The Shat Kriyas are the cleansing techniques, the physical cleansing techniques essentially, Trataka and others. Whereas here, it is the Kriya Yoga, the technical term that he uses. Paramahamsa Yoganandaji in Los Angeles, developed this as a beautiful course, and he called it the Kriya Yoga course, systematically developed with standardization, and he had done a wonderful job in this dimension. Well, what is the purpose of this Kriya Yoga? Klesha tanu karanarthascha samadhi bhavanarthascha. Says, two objectives of this. One is to thin down the kleshas and to expand the samadhis. These are the two dimensions. So, what are the kleshas? We have seen already. Pancha kleshas. Avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhiniveshaha, kleshaha. It's said. Kleshas are the fivefold. Avidya, ignorance. Raga, dvesha, asmita, and abhinivesha. All these things making us becoming smaller and smaller and clinging ourselves to the unreal. So, these are the kleshas. And this is something like Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, the 6 enemies of man. And the whole process of growth, whole process of purification is to thin down these kleshas, to thin down our Arishad Vargas. In Yoga Vasista it is said, what is the sure progress of our progress in your journey towards the ultimate? Anudinam tanutvam yati. Arishad Vargani, Tanutva is the word that's used here. Here also, but it is the same thing. Klesha Tanukarana. Tanukarana is a beautiful word. It's a process of thinning out. The intensity, the speed with which the emotions come up has to be thinned out. It has to be reduced. So, the power involved in the emotions which enslave on us has to be reduced. That reduction is the key essence. Therefore, immediately you do not become free from anger or greed or jealousy. Similarly, you will not become immediately free from avidya. They all start thinning down. From the severe, it becomes moderate, moderate to mild, and from mild, it becomes normal. This is the process. Then the second thing is samadhi bhavanarthasya. Samadhi has to be expanded. That you move from a gross first level of samadhi to the next level, next level, next level, next level. So this is the process that occurs. Therefore, we have seen that the samadhi is the one that expands us to the higher levels of consciousness. So we start the process of gaining mastery over the mind directly by the Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. So in the third chapter, Patanjali talks about Deshabandaha Chittasya Dharana. What is Dharana? Focusing of the mind on a single thought is Dharana. So you take any object. You can take a flower, you can take a pen, or you can take your Ishta Devata, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Rama, Hanuman, Krishna, or Christ, or you can choose a role model of your person. Anything you can choose. But the mind should be fixed onto that single thought. That is the key essence. And this is called Dharana. And in armory, in army, the shooters, they are first asked to look at the bullseye continuously. And only when you are able to fix your gaze to that center point for at least about 15 seconds, then only you are allowed to shoot. This is called Dharana, the focusing. It is the focusing of the mind. In concentration, you have multiple thoughts, but in Dharana, you have a single thought. And therefore, the thought becomes very powerful. Just like a lens, you put it in the sun and put the paper and adjust it. The paper is going to burn. Why? All the incident energy is going to come into a very small area. Temperature increases and it burns. Similarly, when all the energy comes to a single thought, the thought becomes very powerful. It can go down and purify our inner being. All the unmanifest forms, Nidra and Smritis, they will get cleansed in the whole process. Therefore, Dharana is very important. But then to stay long in the single thought, we have Dhyana. That is the dimension which can be called as effortless Dharana. How is it defined? Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam, he said. There is a single pratyaya. And you have to thin out that thought. You go on staying at that single thought, feel more and more expansive, more and more expansive. As I said elsewhere, Dhyana has 4 main points. That is, the mind is fixed on a single thought. Effortlessly, you are staying in that thought, and therefore all your capacities, all your activities are going to slow down. There is a reduction in the metabolic rate, there is a reduction in the breathing, there is a reduction in the blood flow. When normally it slows down, invariably the tendency for the mind is to sleep. No sleep, sir. You have to be wakeful. And feeling of expansion. These are the features of Dhyana. Single thought, effortlessness, slowness, wakefulness and expansiveness. This is what is called as the Dhyana. Dhyana is opposite of concentration. In concentration you are speeding up the mind, faster mind, faster mind. Why do I say that? Supposing there are 2 persons and he reads 30 pages per minute, whereas he reads 60 pages per minute. Both have a good grasp. Who has better concentration? Actually, the person who has 60 pages. So in concentration you have to speed up the mind. faster mind. So from 500 to 1000 thoughts per minute. Whereas in Dhyana, it's the reverse. From 1000 thoughts, 500 thoughts, 100 thoughts, 10 thoughts, 2 thoughts, single thought. Single thought in a minute, single thought 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour, 1 hour. Staying in that single thought effortlessly. Therefore, concentration in a sense is opposite of Dhyana. And when the Dhyana fructifies, it gets into the Samadhi. Samyak adhiyate iti Samadhi, it said. When there is a merger, when there is an absorption, it's called Samadhi. So, in all our transactions, always there is a trifold process that goes on. Now I am talking. The person who is talking, the subject of my talk, and the process of talking. And you are taking food. You are there, the food is there, and the process of eating is there. A great musician is singing. The musician is there, the song which he is singing is there, and the raga and the process of singing is there. Even in meditation, in Dhyana, there is a meditator, meditated, and the process of meditation. And the three things merge together, it's called Samadhi. The meditator becomes one with the meditated. The subject becomes one with the object. I go on doing Omkara Japa, Om, 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 Om. And when this dhyana continues for a long time, I become one with Om. I forget completely myself, as if everything has gone. Tadeva arthamatra nirbhasa swarupa shunyamiva samadhihi, it said. That means you have forgotten yourself, you have forgotten your body, mind, everything you have forgotten, and you have only the thought. That's the Om. That's called Samadhi. So what characterizes Samadhi is again a single thought. And there's a process of expansion, explosion inside. And tremendous amount of bliss. And often great knowledge emerges. Creativity blossoms. And even you start fathoming the higher laws of the consciousness. Therefore, Samadhi is a higher state of consciousness. Normally we all operate in a particular way, in a particular realm, and Samadhi takes us to the next level of consciousness, next level of subtlety of the mind. The same thing is found in the physical world also. People in quantum mechanics, they understand that when the electron is swelling the nucleus continuously, then you go on putting energy into it. When enough quantity of energy is brought, then it jumps into the next orbit. How much is the amount of energy? You can calculate, h nu. Then it jumps into the next orbit. This is known as the quantum jump. The mind jumps from one level to the next level. What is the result of that? Higher knowledge, higher bliss, higher freedom, higher power. And you start fathoming the higher laws. So this is called as the Samadhi. And therefore, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi are called as the Antaranga Yoga of Patanjali. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, the 5 limbs are called as the Bahiranga Yoga. Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, Antaranga Yoga. Then Patanjali says, you take it to the next step. That is called Samyama. Trayam ekatra Samyamaha. It says that Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi put together, done one after the other sequentially, you get a technique called Samyama. And this Samyama is the one which takes us from one level Samadhi to the next level of Samadhi, bringing about the several transformations. And these transformations make us rise to the higher and higher level, to go from Annamaya to Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, in the terminology of the Upanishads. But here, Patanjali talks about these transformations. Ekakrata Parinama, Nirodha Parinama, Samadhi Parinama. These Parinamas are the transformation processes at the mind level and then even at the body level. So the body gets transformed into the subtle form. Just like in Hatha Yoga, it said when the Kundalini Jagrati occurs, there is a transmutation of the gross energies into the subtle form of energy known as the Kundalini. And when the Kundalini rises from one chakra to the other and higher chakras, then you get these higher supernatural powers of the Siddhis. Similarly, Samyama is a tool by which you can expand yourself, transform yourself through the parinamas and get several types of Siddhis. They are called the Vibhutis. The whole of the third chapter is an explanation of various types of supernatural powers called Vibhuti. That's why it is called the Vibhuti Yoga, Vibhuti Pada. And these are the ones that emerge due to the understanding of the higher levels of consciousness. So you can get at any knowledge that you want by putting our mind and Samyama on a particular thing. So supposing you put your mind on the pole star, then you get all the information about the geography of the entire world. You want to know something about the entire body physiology, you put your mind on the Nabhi chakra and you will get everything. So our ancient seers found this as a fantastic tool to get at the knowledge that they want. Any knowledge they want, they can get it. And therefore, Patanjali describes various types of Siddhis and what are the corresponding Samyama you have to do, what is the object on which you have to do the Samyama, has been explained there. And by so doing, you will be able to get to the knowledge. And not only that, then you start getting the power to transform your body into the subtle form. So slowly the body starts rising up, levitation. And then it will be able to fly. Lakutir samapattescha akashagamanam, he says. And you have such great powers and siddhis that start coming up. So I move from one level to the higher and higher and higher levels of samadhis. And 8 types of samadhis have been described. So the process Samyama, then you go to these higher levels of samadhi. And you get into the higher levels of consciousness. So we will see this a little more detail in our next talk in the 3rd and the 4th chapters of Patanjali. Thank you.